This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and here we have the Samsung Galaxy S6 and the Galaxy S6 Edge. Really similar phones. I know a lot of you are having trouble deciding, and originally we were going to do yet another video review just of the Galaxy S6, but we already have a half-hour review of the S6 Edge, and honestly, inside they're pretty much the same phone, so I thought it might be more interesting to give you guys a little comparison smackdown here and help you decide between the two of these. So here we have the tale of two Galaxy S6s. Here we have the regular S6 and here we have the S6 Edge. Both of these models are available in your choice of black or white first off the gate when these are released on April 10th in the United States. So you can see what both colors look like here and you can mix and match. There will be gold coming, of course, and like I said, for you European folks, you're getting green, you're getting blue, you're getting luckier than us when it comes to that stuff. Anyway, I know some of you are having trouble deciding between the two of these, especially because, well, they're not even out yet. You might be able to find one in a carrier store or something like that, but it's a little difficult to tell. And your buddies on the forums and stuff like that, they're all making their best guesses, but they probably don't have the phone either, except for a couple of lucky T-Mobile US customers who got theirs early. By the way, this one's running on T-Mobile, this one's running on Sprint. These phones are available on all major carriers. They'll be on some smaller regional carriers as well. You can see size-wise, they are very close to the same. There's really no point in deciding based on that. The S6 Edge is just a hair thinner and a little bit narrower. Both of these have the same glass back with the big square camera hump on the back. This one says S6, this one says S6 Edge. I guess at the factory, that's one way to know how they tell them apart. One of you was actually asking, where's the FCC info? It's more visible on the white one. You can see it right here for those of you who care about that. It is on the black one. It's just in a very faint dark gray on black masking. So $100 or so sets these apart. Same phone inside, folks. No matter which of these that you go with, you're getting the same Samsung Exynos octa-core processor. That's the 7420 with 4 high-power cores, 4 low-power cores. So you've got 4 cores to handle demanding tasks, 4 cores for not such demanding tasks. Both have 3 gigs of RAM. Both have the same 2560 by 1440 resolution AMOLED displays. Storage options the same as well, 32, 64, or 128 gigs of storage. No micro SD card slot on either of these. Battery is installed permanently on both of these guys. They do have USB hosts, so for those of you who want to get a USB on-the-go dongle adapter and use a flash drive, knock yourself out. That is one way of doing it. Both of these have a fingerprint scanner embedded in the home button, and this is a new one. No more swiping and praying here. Works just like the iPhone. You lay your finger on there and it actually works. It works really reliably in our tests. Same brightness for displays, same high bright 600 nit mode for outdoor brightness if you're running this on auto brightness. If you're not, you won't get that much brightness. Same cameras, 16 megapixel rear, very good camera, 4K video recording, optical image stabilization, excellent 5 megapixel camera front. Same voice quality because they have the same radio, same Wi-Fi, same everything. So you're getting the idea here. What you're paying for is the curved glass here. Now, I know a lot of reviews out there have said, well, I don't know, $100 when the display really doesn't do very much. So here's one thing you can do. You turn it off and you swipe your finger back and forth and the little edge display will wake up. And you can set the timeout so you have time to read it. You can get the weather, you can get some stocks, RSS feed if you want, news, basic stuff like that. Up to 12 hours a day, that can be your bedside clock too. And it's a pretty dim display, so it's not going to keep you up at night. So that's kind of nice for those of you who already use your phone as an alarm clock. When the phone is on, it does nothing whatsoever interesting except for there's a little notch out here where you can have your 5 favorite folks assigned. Now when they call, it's going to light up on the edge of the display and with whatever color you picked for them. So that's about the only thing that it does. You can set your edge of display to be the right or the left side. Again, you can watch our full review to learn everything about this, but that's the value that you're getting in terms of functionality. So a lot of reviewers, including myself, said, hey, that's not really very much that's doing right there. And we always look out for you guys when it comes to spending your money, so to speak. So we hate to just tell you go out and get something because it's prettier. So here's the part where I'm going to say, which would I pick? The Edge. Really. It's that much prettier looking. It makes the display look almost 3D-like because of the way it wraps around just a little bit. It doesn't wrap around so much to distort. If you're reading text or something like that, it's just fine. This guy is not bad looking at all either. It's a very attractive phone. Which is easier to hold? The Edge, I found the narrower side bezels kind of dug into my palm a bit if I was holding onto it for a long period of time. But at the same time, this is kind of a bigger, expansive, slippery aluminum, and I find this one actually a little bit easier to drop by accident. With the Edge display, they have something akin to like palm rejection. It knows that there's a lot of contact points, so it ignores you when you're squeezing here, so I'm not doing anything by accident. And if you have a pretty decent sized hand like I do, I have kind of man-sized hands, my hand just wraps around right. It's just about impossible to drop this phone because you do have that little ridge of metal there that's pretty grippy, and then your fingers can wrap around very naturally. So I suppose you could call that a functional selling point, but again, also a very gorgeous looking phone. And since we didn't do a full video review of this, let's take a look around now so you can see what it looks like. Here's that embarrassing moment right here when you look at this. Now, I've had this on my desk and I've had an iPhone 6 on my desk, both in white. I have picked up the wrong phone. I can't tell you how many times. So let's take it and look at them from the bottom end first, where they're the most similar. Gee golly woggers, huh? And then even on the side here, we both have the ejectee SIM trays there. We've got our power button, slightly different location there. The iPhone has its antenna lines on the side versus on the top and bottom for the Samsung. So there's a lot of visual similarity going on here. For those of you who are really anti-iPhone, well, you might want something that certainly doesn't look like an iPhone from the front. And there they are together. You have the oblong or oval button on the Samsung, helps you tell it apart, versus the round button on the iPhone. Samsung's a little bit bigger. It has a bigger display there, 5.1 inches versus 4.7. But when you turn them around, they look like very different phones, so Samsung saves themselves right there. You've got the soft aluminum look here, and you've got the glass look on the back. So how about doing something like looking at a web page? Now, you can see how the text does scroll off the edge a little bit there, which I think actually looks kind of cool. And there's really not a whole lot of light refraction there, but some of you might find that kind of annoying. Most web pages and ebook readers, things like that, have margins, so you're not going to really have to worry about things being too close to the side edges if you're in portrait mode. This guy looks, of course, absolutely standard. Speed on these, of course, is going to be the same for pinch zooming and all that sort of thing. Benchmarks are identical on these. Now, our Samsung Galaxy Note Edge has a 2600 milliamp battery versus 2550 milliamps for the not Edge version. 50 milliamps is pretty inconsequential. I have no idea why Samsung ended up with slightly different battery capacities. It probably depends on what they have room for inside. They have very similar battery life, so that's not going to be an issue for your choice either. In terms of droppability, and well, you know, both of these are glass front and back, Gorilla Glass. So Gorilla Glass is good, it protects us. And the frame on this sticks up just a little bit. It's just a hair, so it's hard to see, but it's enough so the idea is if you drop it, the frame will contact first and probably get some scuffs or dents or dings. And the same thing goes for the back side of the phone. Frame sticks up just a little bit. With the Edge, the frame sticks up on the top and the bottom. Obviously, it can't stick up on the sides. Now, if you drop the phone, most phones are designed actually or weighted so they fall on an edge rather than on the face of the phone. Still, if you did manage to drop it on its face and just at the right angle so that you hit over here, well, obviously there's probably more a chance of this cracking. There've already been some drop tests on YouTube, and it looks like it's done pretty well. It doesn't bend particularly well. You know, it's not any better than the iPhone for the whole bend gate thing, as it turns out. But why are we applying 110 pounds of force to try to bend our phone using a machine, right? I mean, that's crazy. I wouldn't worry too much about this bending, but you do have a little exposed edge. You might want a case. For those of you who are wondering about cases, most of them so far, for the ones that aren't fold, flap over book style, seem to clamp on the four edges, is what they do, if you're wondering how that could possibly mount. And then they have cutaways here so the bumper comes out to protect it. With your Galaxy S6, you're looking at pretty much normal cases. No special design required for anything like this. It's an absolutely normal phone. One thing I can tell you is either way, you're going to be getting one of the nicest Android handsets on the market for early 2015, probably for a while, in fact. They're fast. They're the lightest versions of TouchWiz we've seen yet. They're responsive. We've had no problem with either of these two units with battery life. One is T-Mobile, one is Sprint again, so there's that. Runs about as long as our S5 did. So not stupendous battery life, but not terrible battery life. We haven't had any undue battery drain issues or anything like that. And definitely, if you're coming from something like a Samsung Galaxy S4, you get the better camera, you get a really much nicer display, obviously better looking device. And if you're coming from the S5, or if you're one of those folks who has one of those Edge plans or T-Mobile Jump plans that lets you upgrade every year if you want to, you're getting a much better fingerprint scanner. And, you know, I'm not a big proponent of super high resolution displays. I think 1080p being over 400p PPI is already better than most human eyes can see, these still are just prettier looking screens. I don't think it has so much to do with the pixel density as they just get brighter, more colorful, more color balanced, more kind of natural looking in a way in terms of the balance of colors than the previous generation. And you're also getting an improved camera, even if you're moving up from the Galaxy S5, certainly from the Galaxy S4. Now, the Galaxy S5 camera was no slouch and had the same resolution. You're getting that optical image stabilization this time around, which really helps, particularly when you're shooting video, avoiding that bouncy, shaky, watch your viewers get a little bit nauseous trying to follow your video sort of thing. So there you have it, Galaxy S6, Galaxy S6 Edge, available black, white, gold. If you're in European country, you might even get blue, you might get green. Lucky you folks, we don't here in the United States. Anyway, $100 retail or so sets them apart, and if you're doing one of those carrier monthly payment plans, which I think a lot of people are, about $4 or $5 a month sets them apart. Hopefully now you figured it out. If you really like the way the Edge looks, and I'd suggest going into the store and feeling both of these in your hand and see what you like best. You know, over a year, 2 years of your contract, the one that you like the best, it's worth it. Spend the money if you do. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit mobiletechreview.com to read our in-depth written review and watch our 30-minute video review of the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.